Did you miss us? Back to work, everybody. Can't hear myself at all, but...
Oh, no.
Are we live?
We are
live. Welcome to Chicago Hockey Radio, everybody. Monday morning edition of the podcast. Justin Lynch on Zoom, Tassos Kirkos, Lee Grossman, Raven Gasser producing today and every day. Thank you so much for stopping by. We have a game day. The Hawks play the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Just a quick reminder, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you are new here. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio and leave a 5-star rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Helps us out a lot. Yeah. Few thoughts. Sorry, my head's a bit jumbled right now. Yeah, happy to have everybody back here. I need to get my game on right now. I need to get my game face going. I gotta lock in right now. Sorry. I got a lot.
Big day today, baby.
Yeah.
Artie party is here. It has arrived. I mean, we think. I mean, it's expected he's going to debut tonight. I don't know if we've got official confirmation yet that he's debuting tonight, but if that's the case, man, talk about throwing some of the wolves in his debut, man, against the Colorado Avalanche. Wow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if anybody in chat can let me know if your X/Twitter has been working at all today.
I'm glad it's not just me. I was going to ask that because mine's not working either, so I can't confirm. Yeah,
because that's where we'd go. We'd see Morning Skate, or and see a Ben Pope tweet or a Charlie Romeliotis or something, but no X. I'm kind of like on the outside. We're blacked out.
Yeah, no, we got no support here, man. It's like it's weird. So hopefully they get that figured out over there. But yeah, he's going to debut this week, though. Even if he doesn't debut today, we got the Tank Bowl to look forward to on Thursday. But I think all things considered, though, I think I was pleasantly surprised to see Artyom Levshunov called up. I mean, I knew he was probably going to get. I think we all knew he was probably going to get a look at some point this season, right? Maybe came a little earlier than I expected. I mean, we still have a lot of games left this year, so. But I mean, he's been playing a lot better in Rockford the past month or so. So maybe I think to give him a reward, he deserves it. He's earned it. So we'll see. Look, he's the second overall pick, right? A lot of scouts say the best defenseman in his draft. So he's 19 years old. So let's see what he's got here. Let's see where he's at in his development, how far away he is, from being a full-time NHL player. Hopefully, he could be on the squad full-time next year. Maybe he needs more time at Rockford. We'll see. I think we'll learn a lot about Levshunov during his stint up here. Which he actually will be playing this time. He's not just up here to practice like he was last time. So looking forward to seeing him in game action for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. As we mentioned, game tonight against the Avalanche. It was a big weekend, honestly. Coming off the live show on Wednesday and then straight into the trade deadline day on Friday. Hawks played Friday and Saturday, a couple of overtime games, and then we did eventually get that Kyle Davidson press conference, which we're going to talk about a little bit on this show, and I think we have a couple clips from that, which is all well and good. Where do you guys want to start, though? Like, we can get more into the Levshunov thing in a bit.
I think we should start with that.
You want to start with
that's the biggest news of the day.
But we don't know. But we're like saying the big news of the day. We don't even know if he's playing or not.
Oh yeah, I mean we know he's going to be playing. Maybe not
play
tonight,
this week.
But yeah.
Even if he doesn't play today, he plays on Thursday.
Yeah, but that's.
I think it would make more.
From now until then.
Yeah, I think it would make more
sense.
sense. I think it would make more sense for his debut to be Thursday against the Sharks. That's like the easiest team in the world to make your debut against, right? The one team worse than us. The Avalanche, man, it's like that would be a very tough debut, but maybe there's something to be said for that. Just throw him to the Wolves right away, trial by fire. Maybe that's a good thing for him. I don't know. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, look, they probably want to give him a couple practices too, you would think, and not just like throw him in the game right away. I mean, I'm sure they have a morning skate, but that's probably all they have planned for today, I would imagine, in Colorado land to get acclimated to plus the air there. It's like super high up there, so that's a bit different too, an adjustment for sure. Yeah.
The air, yes, the air.
Well, players talk about that. It's a big deal in Colorado.
Altitude, yeah,
the altitude. That's what I meant. Yeah.
The air.
The air.
Okay, since we don't care about doing things chronologically on this show, I guess we'll start with Artyom Levshunov.
We'll do it in reverse order.
Yeah. I first of all, I want him to get thrown to the Wolves. Play him against Colorado. Like, what are we doing trying to get some cupcake matchups for our number 2 overall pick? Like, throw him to the Wolves.
Why? So Nathan McKinnon can work his triangle a little bit?
Speaking of Nathan McKinnon, he's at 999 career points right now, so he's dropping 1,000 tonight.
Yeah.
Woof. Hope not. But probably. I'm most interested to see who gets scratched out of the 6 guys that we have, because look, he's coming up right now because we got rid of Seth Jones and we only have one right-hand shot. And so I think it's time for Artyom Levshunov to sniff a little bit of NHL minutes, and I'm super pumped about it. I saw some people being like, "Oh, like why not Korchinski? Why not Korchinski?" It's because the right side's open, and so it's Levshunov's time. Korchinski played the entire year last year, so let's give Levshunov a couple games, see how he looks. That's why I want him to. I want to see him against the Avalanche, just because I want to see him against the best and just see it's a nice, like, if he plays today and Thursday, it'll be nice to kind of see where he's at. Like, does he look out of place tonight and then look good in San Jose? It'll be a nice gauge to just see where we're at with Artyom Levshunov.
Yeah, Korchinski's had 9 games this year as well. I'm sure he'll get another look here at the end of the year. But, looking at these deep pairs, I'd like to see Levshunov. If we want to talk about throwing the Wolves, let's just put him on the first pair right away with Alex Vlasic. Why not? Just do it. I want to see a Vlasic-Levshunov deep pair. I think that would be absolute cinema. I'd love to see that. But plus, too, it's like you make his debut today against Monday. Suddenly, the Thursday game against the Sharks is going to feel like an AHL game for him, and he's used to that. So maybe there's something to be said there as well. But no, I think Levshunov, he's been playing a lot better lately. So I think it'll be nice to see his game, how it translates to NHL level. It's not going to happen right away, but you need to do that, right? You need to get these reps, this experience. So, and I don't think it really hurts him. I think it's a good thing for him for his development. Should be a confidence boost, right? I mean, I think he's played his best hockey since he got those few practices with the Blackhawks about a month ago, right? That was during the AHL break, and ever since he got sent back down, having that week or so with the Hawks, like he's looked so much better. So look at a guy like Del Mastro too. Like he wasn't really having much of a season in Rockford. Since he's been called up to the Hawks, his game has been a lot better. There's been a lot of defensemen who've played better in this Hawks Swords system than the Rockford Ice Hogs, system down there. The season's been kind of up and down for them. So his game actually could translate better, NHL versus AHL. We'll see.
Yeah, right? Look, I'd love for to see Levshunov in Vlasic, but it's not going to happen. I think what's most likely is going to happen is it's going to be Kaiser scratched. Martinez is going to move over to the left, and then he's going to play on the third pair with Martinez.
Boring. But you're probably right, though. Plus, that's a good experienced guy like Martinez to kind of get the reps. They're not going to want to play him 25 minutes, his first game with Vlasic. And Vlasic Crevier has been a good deep pair, so the Twin Towers, as they like to call them. So yeah, I'm not. But Kaiser's been playing so well, though, man. Like I hate, but somebody's got to get scratched, right? So we'll see what happens there. Yeah.
I didn't even realize before we got going. I threw on my Michigan State hat today, and I didn't realize that we'd be.
That's right, dude. You didn't even realize the connection
Michigan
there.
State legend,
really
Artyom Levshunov.
One and
done.
The
last MSU defender, product of MSU to come out of there for the Hawks was Duncan Keith. So I think that's a pretty good omen there, right? Duncan Keith with MSU.
No, I know. That was the most Beehawks memes reference / statistic thingy of
any time. Delusional stat I could bring up, like, oh, this guy played there, so he's obviously going to be the next Duncan Keith. Yeah. I would hope so, though.
Spartan, so
I mean, look, this guy was picked number 2 overall. We took him over Ivan Demidov. It's like, I don't think that's crazy to say. Like, look, Duncan Keith, one of the best defensemen of all time, and I think best case scenario would be probably Duncan Keith, but which is easier said than done, right? But it's like if you have the faith to take this guy at number 2, you better hope he's that guy. But I'm sure they have that confidence in him, right?
Yeah. If you're taking a guy at number 2 overall, you're assuming that he should
number
be
one
one of the best defensemen in the league,
like a Norris caliber level defenseman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do either of you guys think this is coming a bit premature right now?
No, not really.
There was a part of me that was a little surprised to see it now. Like I knew he was going to get a couple games probably at the end of the season, but like I don't really consider this the end of the season. We still have 18, 19 games left here. I thought he might get the Del Mastro treatment. Just throw him in like a game or two. So the fact that he's up here now tells me it's not just going to be for like a week or so. Like he might get the rest of this Hawk season and then get sent back down to Rockford for the Calder Cup playoffs. I imagine that's probably what they do. Maybe not. We'll see. It depends how he looks, right? I just don't want to get lit up tonight. Like if he does make his debut against this, Avalanche team that's loaded up post trade deadline, you could say it could help his confidence if he plays well. It could also hurt his confidence, right? So, but look, I mean, he's not, he's 19, going to be 20 in, September or whatever. So, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily premature. And it's like you take this guy too. It's like a lot of scouts said he's the most NHL ready player in the draft. So, he's been playing really well the last little bit. So, I wouldn't really say it's, premature, but there's definitely, I can understand your reasonings for being worried about that.
Yeah, I don't tweak about that stuff either. Like, even if he comes up and gets lit up tonight and then plays one more against San Jose and then gets sent back down for like most of the remainder of the season, like, I don't think that's going to affect the outcome of his career trajectory. You know, like, I don't think he's going to not be an NHL player because he gets a couple games right now. I think it's time. Like, we've called for the youth movement. I want to see him in the Blackhawks jersey. So I'm okay with the timing of things. And yeah, what if he looks really good tonight? And also, I think they're going to protect him tonight. I don't think he's going to be thrown to the wolves playing against McKinnon all night long. Like, yeah. We're talking about 12, 13 minutes. He's not going to be on the PK. He's like, they're going to protect him a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, you're definitely right about that. But no, what you said there is spot on. Like, this is definitely a sign. We've had a few signs that the youth movement is here, but this is like absolute confirmation of that, right? This is like the top Hawks prospect in the system right now, and he's getting some reps up here, right? I mean, pretty much every top prospect who's in the Rockford Hawks system has gotten a look at some point this year. He's really the last one who had it. So, this will be nice to see. I think we're all very excited for it. It puts a lot more stig into this game for sure. So yeah, hyped to see how he does for sure. Should be a lot of fun.
No, I don't. Number 2 overall pick, you got to see what you have in him. You have to see what he can do right now. I just look, and somebody in chat asked for the stats, and he does have 22 points in 50 games. Yeah. He also has 59 penalty minutes in 50 games too, so that shows a bit of physicality. Maybe that
he's a dog with a W. Yeah.
I just am looking at his stats. This season, the Rockford Ice Hogs. Last season, Michigan State University. The year before that, the Green Bay Gamblers of the USHL. The year before that, Team Belarus. Team Belarus under 18 league.
It's quite a jump, man. Like, this guy, well, that's what I'm saying about this guy. He's still such a raw prospect. Like, has he lit the absolute world on fire in Rockford this season? No, but it's like, I want to point out though, I think half of those 22 points have come like the last month or so. Like, his game has really shot up the last like 30 days. So yeah, like, his numbers don't jump off the page. But like, look, I mean, college to AHL as a 19-year-old teenager. That's a hell of a jump, especially when he's playing in, the Belarus hockey system a few years ago, right? Like, he's taken just leaps and bounds. Still has a long way to go. Such a raw prospect. So he's intriguing. He still has a long way to go in his development. So I think for Hawks fans, keep your expectations in check, right? Like, it's not going to translate right away. It's going to take him time. He's going to be a project. But I think if we see this guy out develop in the right way, he could be quite a guy for us.
Well, I think when you just mentioned that career path, that's like a lot of jumps throughout since he's been like 15, 16 years
every
old.
year.
So
yeah.
So hopefully by next year he's ready to do it to the NHL level.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think this will be very telling, right? The stint right here to see how far away he is, right? Yeah.
Is the is this considered a success if he plays tonight or he plays Thursday and he just doesn't get cooked? Like, is that what's considered a win here?
Yeah, like, I don't think we're expecting him to go out there and, lay the world on fire. He's not going to be our top defenseman right away, right? I think, just don't embarrass yourself out there, right? Don't make major mistakes. Just kind of blend in, show a few noticeable looks here, right? I think that's a win. For a young defenseman, it's almost a good thing if you're not noticed, right? Right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that. Be not noticeable and maybe make a couple of good defensive plays. That's a win tonight for me.
Show some of that physicality too, right? I think he's up there, like you said, leads like AHL rookies at penalty minutes or something. I think he also leads AHL rookies in like shots on goal and stuff. So show a few looks, but don't show your full hand. Yeah.
Okay. Are we good with Artyom Levshunov? Do you guys have any other outstanding thoughts?
I'm excited. I really want him to play tonight. It'll make the game tonight so much more exciting.
I'm just excited for the Artie party, man. The Artie party is here. I love that. Like, his personality, man. I think he's going to be good for the room as well. It's just culture change we've been speaking of. We don't need you, Seth. I'm sorry. Artie party's here. We're good.
Can I read a funny chat?
Sure.
Andrew Nolan in chat. Sorry, Justin, for this one. Whose hairline is more clapped, Justin or Artie?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Artyom Levshunov, man, he's got my hairline going with the receding hairline. We're both going to be balding in a few years, so maybe that's a good sign there. Our balding prince will save Chicago.
Artie is like 3 years younger than Justin too, so
He's like the oldest looking 19-year-old. He
Yeah.
does not look like a
No,
19-year-old man
no.
at all. I think that's a good thing, right? To be physically mature at that age, the defenseman, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, if he came on CHR, a bunch of people in chat would be calling him Unk.
Yeah, kind of he's a fun personality too, man. Like he's just I'm looking forward to just having him there. Like he's gonna be great for clip material for these interviews we do.
We should have gotten him on CHR before the call up, because now Hawks PR is gonna have him locked down. We should have.
No, he's gonna lock down that personality. No personality in the NHL, not allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, in chat, when's the next live stream? The next live stream is Thursday. I should have mentioned that right off the rip.
Woof.
Yeah, we were deciding. Yeah, we were deciding.
Woofing our own live
Woofing our own
streams.
live streams.
Crazy.
That's awesome. No, we were deciding what day today or this week to do live streams, and it was either tonight where we watch them get pumped by the Avalanche, or Thursday when we actually finally get to see the Bedard v Celebrini.
But the thing about Thursday is that it's a 9:40 p.m. puck drop Central Time.
Yeah, so
Yeah, this one's pretty late too, but that's gonna be the better game, the Tank Bowl, right? The best player from the 2024 draft will be playing that game, and Matt Brady's gonna be playing that game too, so should be a fun one.
It's going to be a slumber party at CHR on Thursday night. So if you're free, which I don't know what else you'd be doing that late on a Thursday night, come hang out with us, and hopefully we win and it's a good game. And Connor Bedard toe drag deletes Macklin Celebrini in overtime. And
I want to see him own that kid, man. All this media talk and stuff. I want to see Betsy absolutely dominate him. I think it's going to happen.
absolutely.
You want to do some trade deadline cleanup? I parsed through the Kyle Davidson press conference here. We have a couple of different clips that we can go through, and then before we get into like the games on the weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's hear the first one, Raven, if we can, on the trade with Utah that caught a lot of people by surprise near the end of the deadline.
I think there's a little bit of, there's some intrigue in Aku and also in Victor. He's having a great year in Brynäs. We scout those Swedish leagues pretty heavily, and his team's in first place, and he's a big reason why. And so, kind of get a little more in-depth view into him and see if there's something there to, maybe move forward with beyond this year. Once they finish up, we'll kind of explore that as we get to know Victor a little bit better as a person. I think, and then taking on Shea, we've just got so much room that it was kind of the price of doing business, and it doesn't change anything that we will or won't do in the summer. It doesn't change any ambition from that standpoint. So, we still have over $30 million in cap space next year, and not too many guys to re-sign here. So, there's still a lot of opportunity should it come available to us.
Yeah, when that news broke, I was tweaking a little bit, but it really is just like an option that if we don't sign any big fish this offseason, you can just use that to get to the cap floor. And then if you do, you can LTIR it, and then it doesn't count towards your book. So we get a couple of prospects. I got to admit, I haven't seen any of those guys. So, I'm not going to be here and be like, yeah, dude, Aku Ratu is going to be, a future second liner for this team. But I
don't want to cosplay Steven Ellis right now?
No. As much as I'd love to. Maybe we should have him on soon to talk about these guys. But yeah, I mean, you get a couple prospects out of it, and then you just have the option for the cap space next year.
Yeah, that was literally a buzzer beater type of trade bet. We reacted to that live on the show Friday. Like we were trying to do like math equations, Goodwill Hunting, trying to figure out what that meant. But I'm glad Kyle broke that down for us simpletons here. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense there. Yeah.
It's a good gamble at this stage of where the Hawks are to try and hit on different players like this that, you keep in mind, like you keep drafting these players. And we have the next clip we'll do is on acquiring, players instead of draft capital now. But, you get a player this summer, right? He's 18 years old. In a lot of cases, they're 17, right? About to turn 18. By the time that they become what they will become, whether that is an NHLer or not, that's too far down the line almost. You know what I mean? So you take a gamble on a player like Soderstrom especially. I know he said he liked Ratu in his game, but, Soderstrom is like lighting up the SHL right now with the best team in the Swedish Hockey League, and you maybe bring that player over this summer. You get him into the lineup maybe as like a 5, 6, 7 defensemen, you know, especially if you're able to move off of some of these older guys like Brody and Martinez, and you're able to sift through. I still think the Hawks are going to be big in a trade, any sort of trade talk that is going on for NHL players. Whether that is up front or on defense, although specifically up front, you know, and you're going to be able to, like, I think what these last few games are for is almost like parsing through what you have on defense. You know, the Kaiser, the Del Mastro, the Creviers, like, are all of those guys going to be Chicago Blackhawks when they end up becoming playoff contenders again? You know,
I see what you're saying. Like, which Hawks prospects can play in the team right now, so you figure out which slots you got to fill in terms of NHL players,
and then you trade the rest of them. You use the other guys as trade bait for actual NHL forwards this summer. And then maybe you look to bring in a guy like Soderstrom, who still was like picked really high by Arizona, you know, played in the NHL. They didn't really give him a lot of a shot. They probably rushed him into the NHL a little bit. And now, you know, a whole, sometimes players go over there, and I know it's rare, but like they go over there, they light it up. Like, everything has to click and fall into the right place for you to be an NHL player in the first place. But sometimes it doesn't happen the first go around, and then you go over there and, you know, you come back a lot better of a player. So I like the gamble, man. I really do.
I think Kyle's actual plan here might be, you know, Shea Weber comes out of retirement and plays the last year of his contract there. So we can't rule that off the table here too. Yeah, I'm on to nothing there. But no, I like what you said there. Look, Soderstrom is our 7D over TJ Brody. I'd take that all day. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be fantastic for sure.
Yeah, and it's really not, you're not gambling, like, it's not like you're going to lose much. Like, even if these prospects don't pan out,
Yep.
it's still the move to get to the cap floor.
Hey, you never know. That 6th-round pick could be the next, you know, Gretzky. You never know. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, and then we don't need late draft, like picks like that when we've got so much capital over the next couple years. Which maybe we pull that clip next, him talking about that. The assets situation, just because I was concerned, like, right after the deadline finished and we did this show, it just felt like I wanted to hear what Kyle Davidson was going to say about it, because some of the moves made you think maybe that we're okay with being, I don't want to say ass, but not great next year. But I feel like this press conference, he said all the right things he needed to like calm me and put my faith back in him.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on that. I was kind of along the lines of, I don't know. I think these moves, so especially keeping a guy like Donato instead of trading him for more draft cap, like, that kind of told me no. It's like, this is the time now to really start, like, kind of competing and, you know, getting more established players. If you already have them, just keep them. If you can't get the value you want back in return for them. So no, I think it's very exciting. You know, this press conference, we'll get into the clips, but he seems more along the lines of, no, next year is the time to start accelerating this thing. So it's about time.
Let's hear the clip on Donato if we can.
Donato or
no,
the assets?
the assets. Please,
Oh, you want to
first.
hear the assets one first?
Yeah.
Okay, clip 3.
I would probably say so. I don't necessarily know if that was the stated intent of those. It's just kind of how it worked. But I think it's safe to say that we're likely moving away from that. Now, you never say never in terms of, you know, like, if something makes sense for draft capital. I'm not anti-draft capital anymore. It's just, you know, in these cases it made sense to add players and to add guys to the roster. And so that's my wife calling. And so, you know, it made sense in this case. And, you know, everything, again, making trades is hard, and you don't necessarily take a player or a situation and be like, I'm going to get another player in this, or I'm going to get draft capital in this. It's just, it either works that way or it doesn't. And so in those cases, it worked out as hockey trades, probably more so because of the money. You know, the money necessitates that sometimes. But I think it's safe to say that we're going to look more at those types of trades or situations moving forward, certainly. We've got a ton of draft capital, you know, adding more of, you know, if it's, you know, if that's what happens, okay. But I don't think there's anything that is out there or could be out there for us that we wouldn't be able to do because we don't have enough draft capital. You know, we've got a ton, and you know, can you find value in more draft capital? I suppose yes, but every situation necessitates a different type of trade. So
Makes you think he's going to come out swinging this offseason.
Can I share a couple of thoughts?
I think he needs to.
How does your wife not know that you're doing a press conference right now?
Yeah,
What's
that's
she
great.
calling you for? You're doing like a 15-minute presser, Anyways,
Yeah, Elliot Friedman's wife wasn't bothering him during his trade deadline stuff. Yeah.
no.
Elliot Friedman said that it was a good week for his wife's boyfriend.
Yeah.
That guy is so funny, man. Oh, what a worker.
The other thing too that I didn't love about that clip though is he goes, making trades in the NHL is hard.
Well, then why are you here, man? That's your job, man. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, that's another thing he said.
That's
Like,
your job.
like we'll get to the Donato thing, but he's like, oh, no team was like giving us the value we thought that was worth Donato. It's like, well, whose fault is that? You're supposed to sell these guys and what our guys are worth. So I don't know if I really buy that.
That I disagree with a little bit because teams have their own pro scouting departments. They have their own analytics staff. Like, if the three of us sitting here know that Ryan Donato's on a crazy PDO bender right now,
Then they do.
They do, and then they know even more about it. Like, they know that he's going to regress before the playoffs even hit. You know what I mean? Like, what if you go out and acquire Donato for a first-round pick, and then he has like 2 goals, no assists, and is a -3 in 14 playoff games? Like,
yeah, there are worse players that got first-round picks, so that's the only thing. It's like, is Donato really worth first-round pick? No, but I don't know. Is Scott Laughton worth a first-round pick? I don't think so.
I think, you've said that a few times. I think Scott Laughton brings a different element to his game that Donato doesn't really have in terms of the penalty kill and, certain defensive awareness, I would say.
Yeah, well, you're a Leafs fan, so you better hope that's the case.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, if I was a rival GM, like that was the price set for Scott Laughton, I wouldn't have paid a first-round pick for Ryan Donato.
I think a first-round pick for Yanni Gordon 2025 is insane.
Yeah, but it's situational, right?
It's not even just first-round pick. They weren't offering second-round picks. Bro, Anthony Bolivier got a second, dude.
Oh, well, he didn't say that they didn't offer a second-round pick.
He didn't even say that they didn't offer a first.
No, he didn't say anything specific. So what that that makes me believe is that his price was a first-round pick, and nobody was willing to go there with Ryan Donato. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was probably just a second-round pick, or God forbid, even a third. And he was like, "Oh, like I want a first-round pick for him."
Or it was maybe like a promising young player that like he wasn't able to get. I feel like that's more likely than not getting. I really think if all he was looking for was a first, I think he would have gotten it. I refuse to believe that he didn't get offered a first.
From who?
Dude, I don't know, but the way that market was before Friday was insane. There's no way he didn't get offered a first. I promise you, he wanted some promising young player from a couple different teams, didn't get offered him, and was like, no, we're going to keep him. Because he just said that, like, he's not, like, really looking to add draft capital anymore.
Yeah, no, I think Lee's analysis there is spot on there. Actually, it makes a lot of sense connecting the dots there. Very impressive.
Wow, rare Lee W.
Like seriously though, like I mean, he was probably looking for another Spencer Knight type of return. Obviously not that type of player, but something along the lines of another franchise like core guy that could throw in the core group there. Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't Buffalo take Ryan Donato for Dylan Cousins instead of Josh Norris?
So there you go. Yeah, and probably a situation like that. Like, yeah, obviously they're not gonna, maybe there were a couple other teams. It might not have just been guys on Buffalo that he wanted, but I guarantee you there were maybe a handful of guys that KD really wanted to bring in, and he didn't get any of them, so he was like, no, we're good.
Let's hear KD about Ryan Donato now, if we can.
We've certainly talked and kind of exchanged some ideas. I won't get into it too much, but that certainly did occur, and I'm sure will continue moving forward. And there was interest in Ryan, and I had what I told other teams, and our plan was we were going to set a high price because we value Ryan. We love what he brings on the ice, off the ice. He's a guy that never stops trying to get better. He took some very meaningful steps in trying to improve his game this summer, which I believe is translating into a career year this year. And so that's just a great example that, again, you want in your organization. And so Ryan holds value to us as well. And you know what? There was certainly some on the marketplace, but not it never rose to the point that compelled us to move on. And so, we look forward to him continuing his success this year and success within our locker room. And for, seasons beyond this, I guess we'll kind of let that play out and see where that ends up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to be competitive next year and like make a significant jump and like start winning, like if we want to come out of this rebuild, there might be something to be said about keeping Ryan Donato, a 28-year-old guy who's coming off of a career year. It's going to do more for you than another draft pick, than like a early second will. Because then it's like late first, early second, that player's going to be available in what, 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. It's like if we're gonna not trade Donato, like it's still nothing's set in stone here, right? We still got to extend the man, right? And what's that going to look like, right? And hopefully it's not a regression. It probably will be, but I think they said they offered a 3-year deal or something like that, but nothing's really been agreed upon yet. This might be an off-season thing. So, and if that's the case and it drags on, who knows what that number is going to look like? So I'd rather they get this extension thing done sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that pretty extensively. Like, what does that deal look like? I think the term is more important than the dollar number, because it's like if you give them 2-3 years, it's not like a huge risk. That's not going to hurt you in any way. Even if you end up overpaying him and you get to that like $5 million range. I mean, we just brought in the ghost of Shea Weber to reach the cap floor next year. So like, if it's only a couple years, I'm not super tweaked about the number.
Yeah, I agree. I just think this guy's going to fall back to earth here next season,
Which is fine. I think we'd rather him playing on the third line than him being up on the first unit in the first power play unit and stuff and eating minutes from young players. Like, even if he regresses back a little bit, it's not like Ryan Donato is just a scorer. Like, he's been a great two-way player all year long and has played all throughout the lineup, from being a healthy scratch to being on the first line in the first power play unit. So it's like, that's a good guy. That's a great guy to have on your team if you're trying to win. Like, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, as long as he can still be like good. Like, he's not going to put up this type of season again. He's not going to put up more even strength goals than McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, etc. ever again in his career. He's not going to shoot 17%. But it's like, I don't want to see him in the top 6 next year, because then what did KD do during the offseason? Like, Donato should not be in our top 6 next year. Like, he's a bottom 6 guy. That's what he's been his whole career. That's his role. You could play him in the top 6 when there's no other options, but it's like, I don't want to see him in the top 6. He should be our 3rd, 4th line. Yeah,
absolutely. Thomas in chat just pointed out that that line, Teuvo, Donato, Ilya, will be a really good third line. Like, if you go out and make the offseason acquisitions that you should this year, that should be your third line. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, this is our third line.
We're a business.
Now we're starting to cook.
And we have a 4th line of what? Slaggert, Savoie, Doc, or something like that. Like, that's a pretty nasty bottom 6. Then you just got to get that top 6 figured out, right? Slot in Michael Misa, hopefully. Mitch Marner, delusion. Like another tier 2 type of guy. Boom, we're in business.
I don't think it's as much delusion right now as you may think.
That Mitch Marner, do we want to get into it?
Yeah, I mean, do you guys want? I mean,
let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm not. Hey,
okay.
You're the boss.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, but I let you guys drive the ship of the show a little bit.
Oh yeah, Foligno, I forgot he still exists. So
Foligno, 4th line center.
Captain.
Perfect.
Yeah, last year as captain, they give it to Bedsy next year.
So a Mitch Marner conversation is to be had. So there were some reports on Friday and on Saturday that the Maple Leafs were in on Mikko Rantanen before he went to Dallas. The report from Nick Kyprios was that the first offer that the Maple Leafs made was Fraser Minton, Easton Cowan, and 2 first-round picks. And the Hurricanes turned it down because they felt Logan Stankoven was going to contribute more to the NHL lineup right now, which is probably true, than, Cowan's in junior hockey right now, and Minton's like, AHL guy, right? So they went with the Dallas package. Then the report came out late Friday. Elliot Friedman talked about it on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday, that the Hurricanes asked the Maple Leafs for Mitch Marner, 1-for-1 straight up with Mikko Rantanen, with an extension in place for Mikko Rantanen. You think about it from the Carolina Hurricanes perspective, you're going from one guy that you have that's unsigned going into the offseason that doesn't want to stay with you because you tried it out, to another guy, right? That potentially
It's the same thing.
would want it. Yeah, you're in the same boat, except you get to try it with a different player, and maybe this time this player wants to stay with you. The Maple Leafs then approached Mitch Marner about waiving his no-move clause to go to Carolina, and he declined. He said no. So, and now the reports are that Mitch Marner and his agent Darren Ferris do not want to negotiate in season with the Maple Leafs.
Oh, screams John Tavares Islander situation 2.0.
A little bit. I mean, the Islanders thing was weird in its own way because John profusely stated how much he wanted to stay in Long Island or on Long Island. I know people from Long Island get paid. It's on Long Island because it's an island.
Yeah. You're not in it.
You're not in it.
Well, that's
You're
why
on
they call the Islanders. Oh, I'm just kidding. I knew that.
So, Jesus, Justin. Yeah, so it looks like Mitch Marner is more likely than ever to be heading towards free agency this summer. I know my
bag alert, major bag alert.
My Leafs brethren are, when they joke about Mitch Marner leaving, they're like, oh, like have fun leaving Toronto to go play in Columbus. That's the big joke, right? Like have fun playing in Columbus because I don't know who else is going to offer you $15 million a year. I think everybody's forgetting that the Chicago Blackhawks exist in this discussion.
Yeah.
Chicago, original 6 market. It's time to get out of this rebuild. Betsy needs his guy. Like Chicago generally makes a ton of sense for Mitch Marner free agency. Like that's not just us being delusional. If he hits the market, I mean, Davidson, dude, like you gotta be all over him. Blank check, give him whatever he wants, the keys to the city, whatever. Just make it happen, dude.
And I just think that the relationship. Look, I think if the Maple Leafs get bounced in the first round this year, that they let Mitch walk. Like they don't even try and do anything about it.
They're just like, go ahead, go ahead, leave.
Yeah, go ahead, leave. And the return for us on Mitch Marner is not having to give him $13 million and being able to use that to go get Sam Bennett plus another really good player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that would be the perfect situation for us because then we don't even have to give them the blank check. We could be like, what is this team offering them? What is this team offering them? All right, we'll do, 250,000 more, like something like that.
I mean, it might be more than that. Keep in mind, this is a guy who is starting a family now. He's from Toronto. Like, this is going to have to be an offer, I think. And the Hawks aren't going to be the only team in the mix. Yeah. Like, I do think if it were just about money, he would go to the Columbus Blue Jackets because I think they would throw a lot at him. Like, do you think the Hawks would go as high as 15 on Mitch?
So the only reason why I push back against that is like, yes, I know that Columbus has more cap than we do, but a lot of their guys that they have on either entry, they need to be re-signed sooner than our guys do. Like a lot of their top young talent aren't 19 through 22. They're 22 through 25. So like they're going to have to give those guys deals sooner than we are. And so I think that we are in as good of, if not better than anybody as far as like chances at signing him and giving him the bag.
Yeah. Plus you get to keep that original 6 legacy going as well. Like Chicago's another big, I mean, it's not Toronto, but it's a damn good hockey market. But without the pressure of Toronto media, right? And this is a team that's in a good situation. I think, add Mitch Marner, it's like suddenly that's a rebuild accelerator right there. We want to talk about one guy making a big difference. That's your guy. Betsy needs his wingman, he needs his guy, and like Marner would be perfect for him. I think Mitch too, could be a nice legacy defining move for him. So I'd like to see it.
I also think, I've heard some things that maybe the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be in on a player like that too. Former GM and Kyle Dubas, Sidney Crosby is still living and breathing and playing in the National Hockey League, right? Like, I think the Penguins are going to rebuild, but I think if they have the opportunity to do so on the fly while also remaining competitive, that's always been the mantra in Pittsburgh, at least since Kyle Dubas got there, was we want to build a team around Sid. We want to build a team. Now, if they aren't in on Mitch Marner, then they should go full on head in into being a bottom 5 team in the National Hockey League.
I think they should go
season.
for Cam McKenna if they're smart.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but
I also think if you're Mitch and you have a pulse, you know that this Chicago situation right now is going to be better to join than Pittsburgh. I have no Pittsburgh
maybe not
is
right now.
dude,
But like long term, like this guy's
Long
like
term.
what? He's gonna be in his
Pittsburgh
prime here,
is
right?
terrible right now.
Yeah, but
they're
you
just
had
getting-
Mitch Marner, and you get to play with Sidney Crosby, and
That's cool and all.
That team's not-
that's
that
cool
team's
and
still
all
not
for
going
2
anywhere.
years. But once Sid's gone, you think that like Sid's gonna retire, and then all of a sudden the Pens are still gonna be competitive, and like no, like Chicago's clearly on the up. Pittsburgh's going down.
This is the perfect time to invest in stock, right? It's only up from here. So I think that for Mitch Marner, it makes more sense long term. Like this is a guy who's going to be in his prime, right? It's not like he's at the end of his career here. Like he's got a long way to go. Chicago would be perfect for him long term fit wise. It makes too much sense.
Yeah. And I do think Columbus would be a great fit for him too, but it's Columbus and not Chicago. And yeah, just like you've got Voronkov and RFA after this season. You've got one more year left on Fantilli's entry level. You're paying Marchenko peanuts until 26, 27, but then he's going to be getting a pay boost for sure. Sillinger's got a year left. It's like you're going to have to start paying a lot of these guys. And I know cap's going up, but it's going to be tougher to work those books than ours, I think.
Yeah, like a lot of our young core haven't even arrived yet. They're just getting here, right? They're on the ELCs right now. So it's like we have less guys who are, immediate need of a bag in the future compared to them. It's going to come, Bedsy next summer as well. We got to think about that too. But, guys like Days are a ways away from having to worry about. Yeah.
Andrew Nolan said he just looked up Mitch Marner, Chicago, and CHR was the first page on Google.
That's hilarious.
So we're the people casting this up the most. There you go. I guess it's on us, man. We got to get this propaganda going here.
I mean, the reason we keep talking about it and feel the need to bring it up is because, like, if Mitch Marner makes it to market and you don't end up with him, that is an enormous miss for Kyle Davidson and the speeding up of making this team really competitive.
Yeah. But plus now that Rantanen's off the table, like all of our eggs kind of feel like they're in this Mitch basket, right? So that's another thing as well. Like it's so there's no excuse then from that standpoint, right? It's like you should be able to throw everything you got into this, right?
Where this roster's at, and like just of the stuff that we've heard Kyle Davidson say, Mitch Marner is in our future plans. Like that is kind of what he's planning on, and I don't want to say banking on, because if we don't get Mitch Marner, is that going to suck? Yeah. Yes. But
is it over?
Yeah, it's not over. We're obviously like building something here with all the drafts we had in the past few years and all the young talent we have. Like we're still building something. But Mitch Marner, you bring in Mitch Marner, we're talking about turning this thing around right away.
That's the Hossa, baby.
What if the Mitch Marner situation ends up being something along the lines of the Matthew Tkachuk situation, which was the first sign and trade in NHL history? In order to get that 8th year on the deal, what do you give the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, it worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, not. Like, what does that package start to look like in your guys' minds?
I feel like with that, you'd have to be willing to make some sacrifices to make that happen. Yeah. Probably have to part some guys you don't want to.
Yeah, you're talking about maybe one or two really good prospects that you don't want to give up. Ryan Donato and
some draft pick,
some draft capital.
Maybe 2. Yeah.
I think at this point though, you're willing to do that just because of how much draft capital you have. Like how many, like this Blackhawks team. I know we're terrible, but we have so many assets. Whether it's young players or draft capital, we've got a lot of things that most teams around the league would really want. So,
yeah, but we're doing mock trades now. Like, what? Is that what
no, I just
proposing?
So when the Panthers did it, it was what? It was Huberdeau and Weegar, and 2 first-round picks, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
And a young prospect. So all for Matthew Tkachuk. And keep in mind, when the Panthers made that move, they weren't like coming out of a rebuild. Like they had just gotten pumped in the second round. They had gotten pumped in the second round by Tampa Bay, and realized that they needed an element of grit and leadership and, the type of player that Matthew Tkachuk was exactly what they were missing in unlocking themselves as a team to go to the final one year and then win it the next.
Remember when everybody thought Florida lost that trade too? How well that's aged. Absolute highway robbery. I mean, Huberdeau in Calgary, it's been mid. Yeah.
He's been better this year, but it's still not,
Florida Panthers got a ring to show for the trade.
Yeah.
Chuck, that's a legacy move, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think honestly, like
the Hawks, we're talking about giving up like the Hawks' first round pick next year, like their own first round pick.
Okay.
Probably.
And I think that's something
plus.
Like if that
Korchinski plus the Hawks first next year, plus maybe giving the Leafs their own first round pick back if this is something that happens before the draft. Maybe even the Florida Panthers first round draft pick too that you got.
Do it.
Yeah, I think this is like, especially after we just talked about that Matthew Tkachuk trade, I think this is something you have to do. Or at least try.
Yeah, not even a thought.
You can't be like, oh no, that's too much. Like I do think that it's something that you should absolutely do everything in your power to make happen.
Because if he goes to the Red Wings or, the Penguins or the Blue Jackets or something like that, then where do you even go from? Like, you better hope your guy Brady Tkachuk is available, which I don't think he will be, but like, you circle the wagons back on Pettersson. Like,
you're right. I think we're all in agreement that you do everything in your power to make Mitch Marner Chicago Blackhawk next year.
Yep. Absolutely. Keys to the city. Yep.
All
chat, we in agreement?
Yeah, I
you
think
guys
so.
Chat, you agree? All right.
Well, I better hope so. Now we spent so much time talking about it. We're gonna look really stupid if it doesn't happen now.
No, but you know what though?
Not
like
as stupid
this
as
is
Kyle Davidson.
Yeah, true.
Like, this is the biggest.
We're putting the pressure on KD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think, who was the biggest fish on the free agent market last year?
Definitely not Mitch Marner. It wasn't that type of a player. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like there wasn't that type of player. You look
Jake
at
Gensel?
2026. Jake Gensel was probably the number one.
The
guy.
Hawks were in on him, but that didn't work out, man.
Yeah, he wanted to go play for Tampa, which is hard to blame him, right? But like you look at next year is Kaprizov and McDavid, right? I find it incredibly difficult to believe that both of those players won't re-sign with their current teams. And even still, like if Connor McDavid leaves Edmonton he's not coming to Chicago. He's not.
Depends upon how good we look with Mitch next year.
Yeah, that might be the way to get Connor McDavid is if you sign Mitch Marner.
That would be delusion even past my standards, man. McDavid to the Blackhawks, but crazier things have happened. Never say never, not delusion.
But I'm just saying, like, there's nobody like this that is coming.
Maybe
the free agent
I don't
market.
know. Maybe if Minnesota just like crashes and burns, if we're preying on their downfall next year, the Central's going to be fucking loaded next year. Like,
yeah, I don't know how truthful the reports were, but there were those reports in the offseason that I think it was Mark Lazarus. Those depends how much you trust Mark Lazarus.
No, that was like some weird gossip thing. But I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm referencing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
No, Kaprizov, dude. Without Kaprizov, the Wild got nothing. Like they're gonna give him literally at the max whatever you can, because they have to. Yeah. So it's neither are probably happening, but we'll see. McDavid, I don't know. Like if he left, you're probably right. It probably wouldn't be for the Hawks, but I don't think him leaving Edmonton's the craziest thought, though. Yeah.
I had a dream last night that we traded Ryan Donato for Brock Faber.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then you woke up from that one.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess Faber on the Hawks, though, that'd be okay. I could actually, cheer for him.
All right. Any thoughts, clean up from the weekend games? Hawks bonus game, bonus time, bonus hockey each night. That is 3 straight games that have gone to the extra frame for the Blackhawks. All of them have ended in overtime too. No shootouts for the Hawks, which I like games that don't end in shootouts.
Yes, sir.
They get the win on Friday. They drop one to the Steven Stamkos hat trick on Saturday. And you guys have any thoughts? I know you guys were each on one post game, so if you have a thought maybe on Friday, you have a thought on Saturday, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the game against Utah was like the perfect that's like the best games get right now for us Blackhawks fans. Bedard taking that late penalty and then making amends in overtime, like in minute 1.5 of his shift, staying out there for a while, getting it done. That game was, I didn't get to watch it. I just watched the highlights, but I think you guys crushed on the post game show, and yeah, it was a lot better of a game than the Nashville game was, I think.
Yeah, no, that Bedard OT winner is absolute cinema. Best goal of the season. Yeah, I don't really have much thoughts on the Predators game, man. It was a game that happened. For a game that went to overtime, it wasn't really like. I mean, it was. I've seen worse games where I wouldn't really say it was a game that captivated me too much. But this is also Hawks Predators we're talking about here. But yeah, Hawks 1-2 in overtime the past three. It would have been nice to come away with that one, but we didn't really win consecutive games very often. It's not really something this team does much. But I mostly felt for Arvid though, right? Like he puts in all these great performances, but we're not able to reward him, which I kind of feel for him. Spencer Knight though, still undefeated with him. I believe he's starting tonight, so let's hopefully we can ride that wave there.
You have something written down here, Justin. Hawks 5-game point streak. They're 3-0-2 since the Seth Jones trade, longest since February of 2023. Is that true?
That's true. Yeah, I fact checked that. So no misinformation on my account. I always get everything so right. But no, that one's true. So that's something. 5-game point streak. I don't think that's just a coincidence. Like I don't think that's just a ESPN stat. I think that's very telling. The vibes feel a lot different. They might deny it, but I think we see it. The team just seems the body language has come a long way. It's like we kind of have nothing to lose this last little stretch around this season here. So it's like, just, go out there, play hockey, have fun, and, build. These are the time to build those habits, right? Is now, right? So I think we'll learn a lot about this Hawks team, this young core building during this stretch run here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just eye test, it feels like things are starting to turn around a little bit in the room, and the proof is in the pudding. Like it's the production's been there, 5-game point streak. Not that it obviously matters at all, but just that we're more competitive now than we've been the past couple years, and that's good signs of growth. That this is they're starting to take the step that we kind of wanted them to take all year long.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I thought we'd be seeing all season. Not 5-game point streak, but this type of hockey. It's what KD kind of promised, in the offseason, the moves he made and stuff. And now we're finally seeing it. So that's good. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come. Hopefully next year could just be like this the whole time, right? Even better. So no, it's definitely feeding our delusions, right? It's about time. I don't know what it is with the month of March, man, but it tends to be when this team feasts. But let's play like March all year, right?
Yeah, and we're taking this point streak into a game tonight against the Avalanche, who are now, after the trade deadline, every bit of a Stanley Cup contender, and it'll be interesting to see where we're at against the Avs tonight.
Yeah, I have no expectations, man. Look, Knight should be in net. If Artie Party's in, there's an X factor right there, right? This is probably the game where that point streak ends. But the Hawks are actually 2-0 against the Avalanche in the season series, so I don't know, just saying, but it's also at Ball Arena where the Hawks tend to get killed there. So, and it's also a much different Avalanche team right now. They've loaded up post trade deadline, looking very scary right now. McKinnon on the brink of 1,000 points. Not really a lot I would say about this game. That's plus it's a late game. Those tend to go great for us. So, yeah, and plus a home versus away. We have 7 wins all year. So, yeah, I'm not really feeling super optimistic about this one.
Can we do a second of Avalanche talk and as far as the postseason picture is concerned?
Yeah, we do got to get to break here soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to ask one question. If you're so right now they're third in the Central, so that means they're going to be playing against Dallas in the first round. If you're Colorado, do you want to finish third and play Dallas first, or do you want to? Because the alternative is. You finish in the first wild card spot and play Vegas in the first round.
I mean, with that one, it's you could just go either way with that one. I feel like it's not really a preference there, but I want to see Dallas, Colorado. That would be awesome. Absolute cinema. Rantanen versus former team. Rematch of last year, too. That was a great series. That's what I want to see, but I don't know if there's really a preference between Stars and Golden Knights. That's a gauntlet. I'd probably rather play Vegas. Yeah.
Okay.
I just think... really, and that's what happens with the way the playoffs are set up when you don't have a 1v8 or 1-8 kind of system in each conference. Good teams are bounced in the first round, which there's a good and a bad to it, obviously. The good is that the first round is awesome. Unreal. Yeah. This first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs is going to be if you have Florida versus Tampa and you have Dallas versus Colorado, like, come on now. Like, what are we doing? That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
I know you're
I
hoping
feel like
that,
it should.
but right
I feel like
now
it should
it's
build on
Toronto
each other.
and
Though. Like, I
Tampa.
feel like the rounds in the hockey should get progressively better. Whereas I feel like with this format, like the first round's great, then the second round's kind of then the third round and fourth round obviously great. But I feel like it should build on each other. Yeah, like we have a lot of really great teams that eliminate round one, which is like why are we doing like this regular season hockey for? Like I feel like you should get rewarded, for the standings, but you're playing the same teams all the time as well. So that's why I prefer the conference format.
And also this division format kind of sucks because we literally just saw at the trade deadline. Like teams in the Metro fucking did nothing, and teams in the Pacific kind of didn't do a whole lot either. And so it's like you've got two divisions absolutely loading up, and that's okay because if you're in the Metro, you don't really have to because nobody else did. So it's like you could have two pretty favorable matchups in the first two rounds. It's stupid. If it's 1 versus 8, you're shuffling the deck. You can't.
Everybody's got to.
Yeah, you can't just stand pat and be like, oh, we might be able to get pretty far just off the strength of our roster right now. So,
strength of schedule, for sure. Yeah, less predictable.
Which we can get into more in the NHL hour, and so we will be back in just a second.
keep it
What
here.
a transition.
Welcome back. My God, every time, dude. Every time. I sit here, don't talk for a few minutes, and then, yeah, you need to burp me like a baby.
Yes.
Welcome back. NHL Hour, Chicago Hockey Radio. Justin Lynch, Lee Grassman, Tassos Kirkos. Really good weekend of hockey, I have to say. That was like the first weekend of hockey that got me like really jazzed up, you know, for a while, because sometimes we're just like crushing games and it's just, you know, a regular game on a Tuesday in January. And this weekend,
post trade deadline tends to bring really good hockey. It's fun to see guys play their first teams in new places. Like this kind of feels like playoff hockey for some of these teams, right? This is the time where you're loading up, and the hockey gets a lot better during the stretch run here, right?
So we're going to get into Brad Marchand a little bit. He had his first media availability today as a Florida Panther. Definitely looked a little weird seeing him in the Florida Panthers quarter zip and hat. There's some stuff out of Vancouver because, of course, there is, and we'll touch on some other stuff around the NHL too. We had some players make their debuts with teams, including the members of the Colorado Avalanche, the Brock Nelsons and the Charlie Coyles and stuff that played against the Maple Leafs on Saturday. So we'll touch on all of that. Although Justin, first on his list here today is this story about Jonathan Toews that I saw as well. You know, if you wanted to talk about that, sort of a transition from Blackhawks Hour into NHL Hour a little bit.
Yeah, Blackhawks legend Jonathan Toews' latest interview with The Athletic confirmed he's resumed skating these past couple of weeks. And, he's been a lot of speculation about him wanting to return. It sounds like based on that interview, like he really wants to come back next season to the NHL. It's not going to be for the Hawks. Like every time I see something about Jonathan Toews, all the comments are like, oh, he's going back to Chicago. Like, I don't know how many times somebody has to say if the era is over, that's not happening for people to still say it. Like, I love being delusional about it too. I'm wearing my Jonathan Toews t-shirt as we speak. And as much as I'd love to see it, like, it's just not going to happen. That ship has sailed. So, again, who will be for, we'll see. Probably a contender like Patrick Kane. But yeah, it sounds like next season, Jonathan Toews, it's not set in stone, but it definitely sounds like he is very intent on returning. He's been working hard at it. Obviously went through that, spiritual journey that we talked about, in India and all that. So he's had quite an interesting season. Probably the most interesting man in the world, Jonathan Toews, I would have to say. Yeah.
Where do you have any places that you'd really like to see him go, Justin?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, I kind of like to see. I don't know if it's going to happen now, but I always kind of viewed him as an Avalanche for some reason. I feel like he just looked good there. I know his Joe Sakic, and I just feel like I see Jonathan Toews in Colorado in the mountains. Like that just seems like a perfect place for him. I feel like he'd just do wonders there. But then we'd also have to play him 4 times a year and be in the same division. I'm not really sure if I love that part of it.
That would be sick, though. I would love for him to come back and just be a Blackhawk killer for a couple years.
I don't know if I'd love that. That's the thing. Like as much as I'd love to see Jonathan Toews come back, because I miss watching him play, it's like there's a part of me that's like, well, wouldn't it be nice if he just had his whole career as a Blackhawk? Obviously, we didn't see that with Patrick Kane, but no, it's like if he still resembles himself, that's another thing. Just being away from the game for 2 years, it's like how's he going to look? Like he claims like all the health issues are subsided, that's gone, it's done, it's over, but. It doesn't subside age and being away from the game for 2 years. So it's like if he's just gonna, putt around, in the bottom 6, putting up 30 points a year, it's like, I don't know. Like, what does that really do for his he claims he still has a lot in the docket. Like, I don't think he really has anything else left to prove, but it doesn't really matter what I think. It matters what he thinks. And if he still thinks there's gas left in the chamber here, why not? He's still young, he's still got time. We're not that young, like 37 years old, but yeah, I like to see the Avalanche. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
I'd say I would love to see him on the Florida
Winnipeg.
Panthers.
Or Winnipeg. What's his hometown team? Another Central Division team as well. Florida, you say? Oh.
Yeah, if they don't sign Bennett, look, Jonathan Toews has made over $100 million throughout his career. So I don't think that he's gonna need a big number. I think being on a good team in a good situation is probably what he wants. If Florida doesn't re-sign Bennett, then you have Lundell as your second line center. Bring in Toews for $1 or $2 million a year. Third line center. There you go. Go win a cup. I just want
Toews in South Florida on the beaches. Ooh.
I just want to see him on the best team possible. The Detroit thing with Kane kind of sucks because they're also mid. So I would be rooting hard for the playoff team that has Patrick Kane right now, but I don't think Detroit's going to make it, and even if they did, I don't think they'd have a chance of contending. I want to see Jonathan Toews win another Stanley Cup. I think that'd be awesome.
I think there's a better chance of Jonathan Toews reuniting with Patrick Kane than Seth Jones, though. But you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
he's
actually
gonna.
don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to go to Detroit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, probably not. I mean, it's hard enough watching Patrick Kane, the Blackhawks, watching Jonathan Toews on the Red Wings. I don't know if I can handle that. So I'd rather see him go to, his hometown team or something in Winnipeg. But like, what is there to do in Winnipeg besides hockey? Absolutely nothing. So he probably want to play, an environment with, more to do, I guess. I don't know.
For a guy that spent the better part of the last 2 years learning how to surf, I don't know that he wants to go from, being a beach bum and
There
bouncing
you
around.
go. I see where you got Florida now. I mean, the surfing is great over there in Florida. So, well, you may have just spoken to
I'm on a
existence.
heater. What can I say? Lee's on a heater. Look out,
Oh,
everyone.
God.
Jonathan
Jeez.
Toews of the Florida Panthers. And hey, I didn't just say it. I explained it a little bit there. So
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
cooking right now.
I help explain a lot of it for you, but you're right. Yeah.
He's begun skating a lot in some grueling conditioning skates on a rink in Arizona. The quote here exactly.
He's bringing back the Coyotes.
I thought you were talking about like skateboarding, and I was like, dude, are we just gonna talk about like the things Jonathan Toews likes to do in his free time right
Have
now?
you seen his Instagram, man? Some of the posts he's
I'm
been
such
putting
an
out there,
idiot.
like, man,
He said
he's all over the
skating.
place.
I'm like, oh yeah, there are a lot of good skate parks in Florida that you're about to talk about right now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just watch a Jonathan Toews rollerblading around in like you're downtown or something, man.
So the quote here officially that he told The Athletic, "I'm not satisfied the way things ended in Chicago. It's not about proving anything. It's just that there's something left in the tank and I want to explore that. I want to go have fun, have a blast, play with passion, but at the same time, I still have some high level hockey left. I want to be able to step away from the game. Having said that I've given it my all and I still think there's something left to give."
That's awesome. I mean, it gets me excited.
Love to hear it.
I really hope
Yeah.
that he comes back next year and it's on a good team and he looks good and has maybe another year or two left in him. I think that'd be awesome. It'd be another
happy
fun
for him.
thing for us to watch.
Yeah, I just want to see a happy Jonathan Toews, a healthy Jonathan Toews, and seeing him back. And hockey's not the same without him, dude. It's like, being able to watch him. And plus, it gives more teams to watch, too. Like, I'm always watching Patrick Kane, seeing what he's doing with the Red Wings. Wherever Jonathan Toews goes, I'll be watching him every night. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Oh, captain, my captain.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I guess the first week he did some skills work. Last week he went hard on conditioning skates. Look forward to skating with some old friends and teammates in the summer once they are done with their seasons. So he's going to really, really push himself into trying to make this happen.
Hell yeah. Hopefully we see him come back. It's not like the Landeskog thing where it's just a bunch of talk, right? Yeah.
You got to think that teams are going to be giving him like tryouts and stuff, right? Like, why would you not?
I mean, not just like what he brings on the ice, but just like, his experience. I mean, he's a 3-time Cup champion, he's a winner, one of the best captains, ever of all time. Honestly, that's not a delusion. So just what he brings off the ice, it's like if he could still be a serviceable 3C, why not? He could win you faceoffs. This last year in the league, he was the top faceoff man in the league, over 60%. So he's still useful even when he's not producing, right? Great two-way player. So why would you not want a guy like that?
Absolutely. And especially if he's not going to be asking for a ton of money, like have that guy in your bottom six, leadership, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Seems foolish to pass up on, like, because then what's the alternative? Like, you're just going to bring in some other player to play that third or fourth line center that's going to be making not a ton of money, but has not done the things that Jonathan Toews does. Like, I don't know.
That's a guy I want come playoff time. He always raises his game in the big moments. Yeah. Yeah.
What we do know that won't be happening is a return to Chicago for Jonathan Toews. The quote here, "I honestly do think that chapter is closed. I respect what Kyle and the organization is doing. They decided a few years ago to move in a different direction, and I'm all for that. I don't think that's a fit for me anymore. I want to go somewhere and have a chance to be myself and play the game. I know my best hockey is going to come through that way instead of trying to be in that role where I'm still living with the pressure of our cup winning days. That era is over."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not surprised, but it's still sad to hear him actually say it. But yeah, it's not surprising.
It doesn't even make sense for us at this point. Like, like what would bringing in 37-year-old Jonathan Toews do for, like, we already have.
He could be the Foligno role, right?
Yeah, but we have Foligno. We have Foligno.
Well, yeah, but if we brought in Toews, be like, hey, we could go take a trip. Jonathan Toews is here, baby. Yeah, no, I'm just being delusional.
I know chat's upset too about it, but I mean, we're moving on. We're a young team. We've said literally every single show we want to get younger. We want to get younger, guys. Let him go to a contender. We'll root for him. We'll root for him from afar. It's over for Toews and the Blackhawks. We just got to cheer our boy on. That's all. Okay. Enough weeping.
Getting all emotional here, man. No, I mean, yeah, obviously.
All right. Do we want to move on to games from this weekend?
Yeah. Did you want to do Brad Marchand?
Oh, we
first?
could do some Brad Marchand talk. Is he gonna play much during the? Because he's like injured right now, is he not?
He is injured. I think the hope is to try and get him back a little bit before
Postseason.
playoffs start. Yeah. Let's hear from Brad Marchand a little bit, because there were some quotes. We got the one that's like talking about the situation with the Bruins, and it's actually kind of weird, like seeing a guy like Brad Marchand, like he was looking like Brady Tkachuk after they traded Josh Norris away, just very choked up, but obviously it was super funny. He came up to the podium, first thing he said is like, "Do I look tan yet?" And when asked about Sam Bennett, he was like, "Yeah, he's still a scumbag." And he's like, "Do you guys like the red? It brings out my eyes." Like, he's having a good sense of humor about this, which is really good for him, I think. Like, if the reports are true, apparently the Bruins offered him $3 million a year on a contract extension. Like, that to me is the most disrespectful.
Such a slap in the face.
That's such a slap in the face for a guy. I think his current contract that he's been on for the last 8 years is somewhere like 6.8. I want to
Which is honestly a steal. Like, maybe not this year, but like the past years, that's a steal for Brad Marchand. What he provides, anybody would want that.
And the fact that you couldn't give him maybe like the Claude Giroux deal in Ottawa, where it's like 3 years, 6.5 or something like that. It reminds me of like Steven Stamkos leaving the Tampa Bay Lightning, where they offered him 8 years at $3 million or something crazy like that. And he obviously got his $8 million a year in Nashville. Do you know what Brad Marchand is on currently? You're looking at the Bruins.
Oh my God.
So he wouldn't be on.
I will say, I feel like Brad Marchand's
fucking taking a shit right now. Anyway,
I feel like it's gonna be easier to root for in Florida too. Like, it's just hard to root for a guy that, like, especially like that in the Bruins. It's like, it doesn't do it for me. But a change of scenery like that, Tom Brady's another guy. Went from New England to South Florida. He became a lot more easier to like. So I feel like with Brad Marchand, maybe it could be a similar effect there. Yeah.
Are you comparing Brad Marchand to Tom Brady?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, the situation here, like, end of his career. He played his whole career at the Bruins, won a championship. Never really liked him past the rat, but I feel like a lot of that's, you kind of start to appreciate him in another setting. With, like, I don't know, that might be under nothing there. Yeah.
it was like 6 point something, because he's making basically three right now.
Yeah,
and it was 50% was retained. So yeah, it was like 6.25.
Now,
what would be really, really funny is if Brad Marchand re-signs in Florida on a discount.
Be sick.
That'd be even greater slap to the face to them, right? I mean, it's like, I love what Florida's doing right now, man. It's like
they're gonna win the cup.
They're just loading up. I feel like they're making all the right moves, and like that just seems like the setting right now. Not just where they're at as a team, but people are finally starting to appreciate now that they're good, because they haven't all their existence until now. It's like, hey, it's a pretty nice place to live. No taxes there. Nice weather, good hockey. I mean, why would you not want to go to Florida right now?
They're making a lot of moves that like the Chicago Blackhawks made in the 2010s.
It does seem to emulate that, right? It does seem like they play very much a similar style. Like, watching that team kind of reminds me of the 2010s Hawks.
That's
really.
why that's why they're my. I don't have a second team, but if a gun in my head, I had to have a second team, it would be the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, probably be the Avalanche for me. Yeah, but Florida's up there for me too. Yeah.
Marchand's contract, according to Chad, is $6.1 million. So the fact that you, after him playing. Yeah. So imagine the fact that you offer him half that after playing on a contract where he played like a $9 or $10 million player for most of it. That's absurd to me. And so we can let's play the Brad Marchand clip first, and then I want to talk about the Boston Bruins a little bit.
I've had an incredible run in that organization, and I'm extremely proud. How things went there. Sorry. So yeah, it was very disappointing things didn't get done, just because obviously I love the organization. I wanted to stay there, but at the end of the day, I also know that business is business, and every player has a shelf life, and regardless if that's when we want it to be or not, sometimes there's things out of our control that dictate situations. If we were in the playoffs at that point in time, we'd probably be having a much different conversation. And I know that. Something we had talked about previously, but we weren't. And at that point, very tough decisions have to be made. And the one thing that I always respect, I told Cam Sweens this, is they have a job to do, and they have to make the best decisions for the team. And I completely understand where the decisions need to be made. It sometimes they work against you, but that's why I believe Sweens is one of, if not the best general managers in the league. I watched him for a very long time, excel at his job, and for those who are in the organization and know the effort that he puts in every day, and how hard he works, no one would question where his loyalty lies, and that is to do what's best for the team every day. And when you're part of that group, you feel it sometimes. And like I said, every guy has their day, and it's obviously not what you want to have happen, but I don't hold that against him or the group. It's just part of life. It's part of the game. But also, he did create this opportunity for me to be here. So I am grateful beyond words for everything that organization has done for me.
Damn.
So-
What did you say about Brady when
Feels
he was
bad,
crying?
man.
Should he get a grip?
That's a little different for trading a player.
I know, and also someone who's had a career like that in a place. I know it's a different situation.
Yeah. Brady Tkachuk has never played a playoff game.
I know.
You want to make the playoffs? Like,
Are you guys ready for Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, and Brad Marchand on the second line? Are you guys ready
Dude,
for that?
That's gonna be a monster in the playoffs, man. Honestly, this back-to-back Florida thing, man. Like, who the hell is gonna stop this team, man? Like, even Seth Jones can't ruin that team. They're so good. It's like, I mean, seriously, like that's gonna be so fun to watch. I can't wait for it.
And it's so funny because, like, obviously there was the Bennett sucker punching Marchand last year in the playoffs, and they had
And now
their
they're all
beef,
buddies, yeah.
But it seemed like they were buddies at the Four Nations. But then, literally, a week and a half ago, him like kind of clowning the Tkachuk brothers to the media, just saying that they bit off more than they can chew or whatever he said. Like, and now he's gonna be on a line with both those guys. Like, that is gonna be the line.
That's hockey, baby. I mean, you set those things aside. When you're on the same team, like all that stuff you said before, it's out the window, man. So you got to put it aside. It's all business when you get to the rink. Yeah.
Yeah. If they are back and healthy, I don't see any team beating them in a 7-game series.
Yeah, seriously. Unrelated, but in other news, I just had to bring this up because chat keeps yapping about it. For those people whose Twitters are working, it sounds like Artyom Levshunov is at morning skate, and he's going to be playing tonight, and he's running the second power play unit. So it really does feel like they're actually throwing him to the Wolves here. So I'll love to see it. I just had to get that in there because if I didn't mention it, they'd be calling for our heads. So, yeah.
yeah, it looks like Brody and Crevier are going to be out tonight. The pairs are Vlasic, Kaiser, Del Mastro, Murphy, Martinez, Levshunov.
Oh, you called the Martinez one there. Yeah, TJ Brody he could go find a beach somewhere to chill the rest of the year. I don't want to see his name on a Hawks lineup sheet the rest of the year. Anyway, back to what we were discussing with Brad Marchand, the rat. Also, the rat in Florida. What if he scores a rat trick there? We get some rats thrown on the ice. There you go.
No,
They still
that's a
they
funny
still do
point.
that there.
I understand that is just the most.
Every time he does one of these and I laugh, it's not because I don't think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. It's just like it's automatic with him. Like he's always coming up with these. What about a rat trick?
Well, that's where it started in Florida. You know, Scott Mellenby, he killed a rat in the locker room and scored 2 goals. They call it the rat trick, and that's when they started chucking rats. They still do that there. They still chuck the rats. They got to bring that back.
They're gonna bring it back for Brad Marchand though.
Hell yeah. Oh, man. Dude, this is... The more I think about this, man, they really cooked up this one.
That's the ultimate rat line. That's the rat line of all rat lines. And it's the second line. Like, oh my gosh. Wagon.
Wow. Yeah.
Something I do want to bring up. No, it's just something he said. And I think, look, a lot of Boston Bruins fans are not happy. Like...
I hope with the team, not him. Yeah.
No, not with Brad Marchand. With Don Sweeney.
Organization, yeah.
Like with Don Sweeney.
Yeah.
And to me, like Don Sweeney as a general manager almost reminds me of Stan Bowman a little bit.
Yes.
Where
a lot of parallels.
You know, like Don Sweeney didn't build that team in Boston that he was given the core of, you know, Chara and Bergeron and Krejci. And, you know, I don't think he drafted David Pastrnak, although I could be wrong. I don't think he was there when they drafted Pastrnak or McAvoy even. I could be wrong. And, you know, Rask, like he wasn't involved in any of it. Mm-hmm. And yet here are the Boston Bruins 2 seasons removed from a record-breaking regular season. They had 111 points, I think, in the regular season last year, too. And,
you know Brad Marchand's going to that team, the Florida that kicked them out. That's even funnier.
Yeah. Yep. No, I mean, like, Bruins fans, I know that, like, the 2 teams they didn't want to see Brad Marchand on were
Toronto and there. Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
You know how like Justin, you and I root for Detroit because of Patrick Kane and like
they're not gonna be cheering for Florida because of Brad Marchand.
You don't think? That's exactly what I was gonna ask. You think?
Oh, really? No, I don't think so. I mean, I cheer for Kane. I don't necessarily say I cheer for Detroit. I want to see him in the playoffs just because of Kane. I guess I do root for him then. I don't know. It's just weird. It's hard.
Yeah, when Kane went to the Rangers, I was hoping they were like I wanted Patrick Kane to win.
That was a little different. That was a little different. There's not really. I know the original 6, but there's not as much of a rivalry with the Rangers as there are with the Red Wings. But even the Red Wings now, it's like we're in different conferences. It's not the same anyway, like the rivalry, which kind of sucks, but it's the way it is. So that way, I feel bad, you know, cheering for them. Yeah. If it was like the Blues or like the Predators, like a division team, that'd be different. Yeah. But no, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. No.
Do you think there's going to be a contingent of Bruins fans rooting for the Florida Panthers this year?
None. None.
Okay. I don't know if they're upset with the organization.
Well, they owned them last year too. Last year too, they owned them.
Isn't it almost worse trading him to the Bruins or trading him to the Panthers than the Maple Leafs? Because at least with the Maple Leafs, you beat them every year.
Yeah.
With the Panthers, they beat you.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that worse?
Well, if you can't beat them, join them. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that would be awesome if he signs an extension there for like $2 million, like even less than Boston offered him. I mean, you look, he's gonna come down to Florida. He's going from Boston to Florida. Nicer weather. He's gonna lift the Stanley Cup this year. He might want to stay, dude.
Dude, this is a great point in the chat about Don Sweeney. His first draft was the one. Remember in 2016 when the Bruins had like 3 consecutive picks? What was it 13, 14, 15? Exactly.
And Jake DeBrusk.
Yeah, and yeah, he could have picked Connor. He could have picked Barzal, Shabbat, all these guys that Nolan in chat's pointing out. Yeah, that was one of the whiffs of all time, dude. Like, how do you even keep a job after something like that? And for that long, 9 years later, dude.
Because he had a good team. Because the team was good. So
it was masking his deficiencies. Yeah.
Sweeney took over in 2016. David Pastrnak was drafted in 2014. So.
Well, what do you think Tassos feeling right now, man?
I mean,
maybe he asked for a trade.
I don't know.
He's in no man's land over there. Yeah, like Quinn Hughes in Vancouver.
I mean, like they've got pieces to build around, right?
No, they don't.
I mean, you got McAvoy, you got Swayman, you got Pasta,
and nothing else.
But I mean, you got 3 pillars in each position.
You have 1 pillar in each position.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You've got a pillar in each position.
Yeah, but like, I don't know if that's enough to build around.
Like, you better hope you get a top 5 pick this year if you're the Boston Bruins.
They're tanking.
Yeah, that would be smart, right? Oh, they better not get. I don't want to see Gab McKenna in Boston.
And a couple of good points from chat too. They got rid of one of the best up-and-coming coaches in the National Hockey League in Jim Montgomery this year, in a reactionary move because they felt it would provide a spark for their season.
Scapegoat for Sweeney.
And they currently have the last-ranked prospect pool amongst most all people that do that.
Wow, they really dug themselves in a hole here, man. So it's like, I feel like they're forced. It's like, okay, so the few assets you have here, like you could get an absolute haul for Pasta, McAvoy, although you just extended Swayman, so I don't really know what they're going to do. They're probably forced to, but do they want to stick around? Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Pasternak has a bit more. Like, I could see David Pasternak wanting to be moved, whereas I don't think Swayman and McAvoy would go that route.
Yeah. Isn't McAvoy from around there too? Like he has connections.
McAvoy's from Long Beach, New York.
Okay. Yeah.
Long Beach.
Well, like he seems to really like
the
it there.
specific part of Long Island that he's from.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know. I thought you were just joking around.
No. I know my Long Island geography.
Didn't he like play somewhere like before that though? And maybe I'm wrong about that. Like he has connections to that area. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm on nothing here. Yeah.
Well, and
Boston University. He played college at Boston University. There you go. I knew I was onto something.
Swayman just battled the Bruins organization for what was like a year for this contract and to like be the guy. I think it would be crazy for him to be like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, but the Bruins fumbled that negotiation too. They let go.
They had a great tandem there. Yeah.
They let Linus Ullmark go way too. Like Linus Ullmark, if you were trying to hold leverage over Jeremy Swayman, having Linus Ullmark on your team was your leverage. Like, okay, cool, sit out. Like, we have the guy who won the Vezina 2 years ago, and then you shipped him off to Ottawa for Eunice Corpusalo, and now, like, all your leverage was gone.
Yeah, it's negligence over there in Boston. They're fumbling because it's like now they're trying to tear it down a little bit, but it's like, is that really the direction you even should be going? Like, how is that going to work?
Well, I think that, look, I don't even know how last season happened for them. I saw this coming when Bergeron played his final. Like, that record-breaking regular season team, that was the last run at that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
they were better than I thought they'd be last year. Yeah.
They shouldn't, like, I get it. They beat the Maple Leafs in the first round last year. They shouldn't have.
It's like, the Maple Leafs. Like, they always do that.
Like, but they were outplayed that whole series, and they were not the better team. Like, I watched every game. Like, they were not better than the Maple Leafs. Yeah. And then the Florida Panthers made quick work of them in the second round, you know?
Yeah, they exposed them. Yeah, that was it.
Like, as soon as Bergeron left, like, that was it for this era. And look, it was a good era. They signed Zdeno Chara and Mark Savard in 2007, 2008, right? So that's 16 years of being really
for
competitive.
A long time.
Is it crazy to say though? Like, I know they won the Stanley Cup in 2011, but is it crazy to say like that almost wasn't enough? Like, I feel like they should have won more. Yeah. They had so many good teams in Boston. They made it to 2 more Cup Finals. 2013, we beat them obviously 17 seconds, legendary. 2019, Game 7 against the Blues. Like, man, I feel like they could have easily won more than just the one.
I mean, dude, they had the entire era of Tuukka Rask, and he never won.
Well, he was the backup in 2011.
Yeah, it's Tim Thomas.
But he wasn't the guy.
No.
They
had a whole career of one of the the best goaltenders of recent memory, and never won.
Yeah, I had a fish named Tuukka Rask because he was a Rask, and he never got to see a Rask starter win. He died, by the way. He died a few years ago when he was,
Shocker, dude.
He died when Tuukka retired.
Yeah, seriously, I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. This is real.
That took all of Tuukka Rask the fish's will to live. Was
because we have a fish tank in the basement here, so the fish are always watching the games. So yeah.
Wow, that's that's one of the all-timer moments.
Wait, are you in Chicago right now?
Yeah, but right after the show ends, I'm gonna be driving back to Ohio for spring break. So I'll be driving. Because spring break's over, but I don't have classes today, so that's why I'm here. So yeah, I'll be driving like Max Verstappen to get back in time for the game. Yeah,
You should have come in and done the show today.
I guess I didn't really think about it. It's a little out of the way of the traffic and stuff, and I think I overslept. That's probably why.
That's all right.
Yeah, my bad.
Who cares?
It's fair enough.
I'm struggling with just having Lee here, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, actually, so that's actually an interesting segue here, because I just brought up a pet that died. I actually used to have, I don't know if I ever brought this up on the show. I used to have two ferrets named Kane and Taze, and they lived for 8 years during the Kane Taze era, and they died a few years ago as well, like when that era ended. So
Just stanking up that house.
I won't lie, that is a top tier like nasty pet to have.
Yeah.
Well, ferrets are underrated. They don't get enough credit, man. They're fun. Like they're independent. They kind of take care of themselves. Yeah, they're entertaining as well. I should get two ferrets named Bedard and Azar or something. I don't know.
Oh my god.
How long? Never mind. We can't even do pet talk. I was gonna talk about like how long do ferrets live, and like was Justin not taking good enough care of his ferrets?
No, they lived 8 years. That's around the average expectancy for ferrets. It was 2013 to 2021.
What are we doing?
We're doing, all right, this is
doing
Ferret
right now?
Talk, brought to you by Chicago Hockey Radio.
All right, we'll get back to NHL now. I thought that was an interesting segue because I don't think I've ever brought that up, so that was the opportunity.
That was an interesting segue for what?
What were we talking about again? We're talking about the Bruins. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so good. Do we want to do game talk for the games that happened this weekend? Or
Yeah, Adam Fantilli had a second career hat trick. He has more hat tricks than the rest of his draft class combined. Connor, you hear that?
yeah. So, how do you feel about that as a Bedard Glazer?
Oh, no, I don't really think anything of it. He still has 11 more points on the second worst team in the NHL, and Fantilli's playing on a playoff team, so I don't really think much of it. I just think that's an ESPN status he's throwing around.
That was a big game yesterday between the Rangers and the Jackets, like fighting for that wild card spot. The Rangers kind of needed that one, and to get kind of dummied like that at home, like I do not think that team's making the playoffs this year.
I think the Rangers are pretty close to being in a similar boat as Boston. I feel like they're going nowhere. Like JT Miller's been a good fit there, but I'm still not sold on them. I feel like it's inevitable that they're going to collapse as well, and they have no cups to show for it.
Do you think either of those teams could pull up like an upset in the first round?
No. Well,
Because they're playing Washington. It's not like they're going to be up against
Who? Columbus? They'd be playing the Panthers.
well the right now, yeah. But as that
Columbus or
wild
Ottawa,
card
the
team-
teams you're putting
Look,
out
I
there?
don't think
Yeah.
any of those three teams are upsetting Florida in the first round. So like I'm not even considering that.
Not Florida, but Capitals maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, it depends who it is. I actually, it wouldn't shock me. Like I think we said it before. Like Washington, like this screams another 2023 situation where it's like they haven't really been. Like I know they're playing well, like during the regular season, but playoffs are a different game, man. They haven't really been there, done that. I mean, I guess 2018, but that was 7 years ago. I just against a gritty team who's had a lot to play for. That wild card race has been like all these games for the teams like the Blue Jackets and the Senators. Like they're playing meaningful playoff hockey right now, and it's like. An upset this year wouldn't shock me. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, do you think if Ovi gets the goal record before the playoffs, then they just kind of lose like their
They just kind of mail it in. Like last year, I know it was last year was a different team, but they got absolutely like swept against the. I mean, it's a different team. I get it, but there's just something about this Capitals team. I can't fully explain it. I'm just not sold on them. I don't know why. Like they played such good hockey. They're probably going to win the President's Trophy, either them or the Jets. But really, neither of them I'm sold on. The Jets at least have Hellebuck to rely on, but it's like Ovechkin. It's like come playoff time, like maybe it proves me wrong, but like the last few years, like they haven't really gone anywhere, and it's like I just don't know if they have enough game breakers. They have so much depth. It's they got a nice militant approach here, and Carberry's a great coach, but come playoff time, I don't know if it's going to translate.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a bit like Carolina Hurricanes-esque of like, yeah, you have a ton of depth, but you need the stars that are going to score a big goal for you in a game 7 or like an overtime goal in a game 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know if they have it. I mean, besides, Ovi.
But yeah, Ovi did get another empty netter yesterday.
You're not going to be getting as much of those in the playoffs, too. Yeah.
He's 8 away, right? And they've probably
Grade
got,
8 is 8 away. Wow.
The grade 8 is 8 away. They've got like 19 games left.
He's going to do it against Chicago, isn't he? Just wait. He's going to do it against us. It's happening.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah.
Anything else yesterday? The Canes had Jank and Stank popping off for their first career Hurricanes game. against.
Logan Stankoven scored his first goal with the Canes before Rantanen, I believe, with the Dallas Stars. Am I right about that? I think so.
No. Rantanen scored on Saturday against the Oilers.
Oh, I was wrong.
And then he scored another one yesterday, too.
Oh, he did? Oh, well,
Yeah.
good for him. Yeah.
Immediately a better fit for him than Carolina, I think.
I always get at least one thing wrong per show, so there you go. That's my gap for this show.
Yes, Mikko Rantanen is going to fit much better in Dallas than in Carolina. And the other thing, too, is like Logan Stankoven's probably going to fit better in Carolina than Mikko Rantanen did.
Yeah.
Like, that's a guy who will play the system and the grinding type of hockey that Rod Brindamore wants, that the team, creates their identity around. And Rantanen is just like, Dallas is practically an all-star team at this point.
Yeah. It's so wild that he just went to another team in the Central and is just going to be up against Colorado several times per year for the rest of his career. This is
an interesting question. Who do you think's more pissed off at Mikko Rantanen right now? Colorado or Carolina? Who's more pissed off at him?
I think. Do you mean the fan base? Do you mean the fan base?
Yeah, or the team. Yeah, just in general. Yeah, the team.
I feel like it's got to be Colorado.
I think you're 100% wrong.
Really?
100%.
I think Carolina kind of ended up getting a haul.
Yeah, they did well, but
they kind of got a Taylor Hall for him.
Okay, Justin.
They got a Taylor Hall pass.
That's it. This is the last podcast we're doing. No. Here's my thought process. Yeah. Carolina, if I were the fan base in Colorado, I'd be more mad at management than anything, because apparently he signed 8x12, which I understand is a higher take-home pay than in Colorado or Toronto or Carolina because of taxes.
Yeah.
But apparently Colorado's highest offer to him was 11.5 or 11.75.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about him staying in Colorado, but you wouldn't budge on an extra $250,000 a year, and you shipped him off to Carolina at the drop of a hat, I'd be livid at. Now, Colorado has made up for it a little bit. The Nate just looks really good there. But you think about Nate too. He keeps lighting it up in Colorado. At the end of next season, he's going to need another contract.
Yeah.
And
what are you going to pay him?
What are you going to pay him? You know? If I'm Carolina, I'm more mad at Mikko Rantanen because apparently they offered him 13 and a half, and he just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to be there.
That's fair. But also then again, I think that says more about the organization and maybe that Brindamore system than it does about Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Rantanen saw us up in that month or so where it's like, no, I got to get the hell out of here. Fair enough.
If Carolina gets bounced in the first round, do you think there's going to be a lot of sentiment around that team that's like, all right, Brindamore, this is it's not working. It hasn't worked. If you're just okay with being good during the regular season and making the playoffs every year, but then never actually being a true contender, then it's fine. Then this is the perfect situation for you. But if you want to win the Stanley Cup, I don't think it's gonna happen with this system in this group.
Yeah, how much longer you go being regular season merchants, right? You got to win something come playoff time. So I think it's it feels a little monotonous at this point. So you got to think something would give eventually. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. Well,
where do you want to go from here?
Well, how about Nick Lardis, 70 goals with the Bradford Bulldogs? We had to get my prospect talk in. We didn't talk about the prospects at all during the Hawks hour, so I had to throw that in there. Tassos is losing it right now. That's a big deal, man. 70 goals, first time since John Tavares in 2007, I believe, in OHL to hit that mark. So good for him, man. I'm so excited for Nick Lardis, baby. Next Alex DeBrincat.
Yep.
Yeah, the next Alex DeBrincat, he'll score 30 goals once every 4 years.
Hey, that's a pretty good NHL player right there.
We got a guy
Average 30 goals a year.
slandering Alec DeBrincat.
What's wrong with Alex DeBrincat?
No, nothing. I'm just saying that people call Alex DeBrincat a 40-goal guy when he's only scored 40 twice.
He's not twice. He's probably gonna do it 3 times this season, probably.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just saying.
If he turns out to be that is amazing. Like,
He's a third-round pick.
Yeah.
I
He
hear you.
scored more goals this season than his number. His
Yeah.
draft position was 67.
If he ends up being a first-line player in the NHL,
Oh,
like
yeah.
we're sitting pretty. Like,
Realistically, he's probably more of a second-line power play merchant, but that would be great.
yeah, you need that.
Yeah, you need somebody to put the puck in the net, man. And it's like Bedsy's those apples are gonna shoot up with him with those OV slot, the one-timers, man. That shot he has, it's gonna translate. I'm not worried about it. There's always this dialogue around small players in the big 2025 that they're gonna fail. I'm not seeing it.
I know. I'm with you. Let's wrap up NHL talk and
And what?
What's your point? Are we gonna get around about Summit? What's your point here?
just we're going back to prospect talk and the
Is this the
we get to the
OHL
point in the show,
You all had nothing to
if
say.
we
I was
get
like, I had to
the
say
point in the-
something.
Hold up. If we get to the point in the show during NHL hour where we start talking about Nick Lardis, I think it's time to wrap the whole thing up.
Okay. Well, let's play this Vancouver Canucks clip that we have. Can we play it, Raven? I'm sorry, you're looking for more NHL talk.
I'm good. I'm just saying we're all over the place.
Sorry, you want to talk about the Kamloops
wait.
Blazers instead or something like that?
I feel like we had so much more things to talk about the Hawks, but we spent like a half hour talking about Mitch Marner.
Play it, Raven.
Yes.
In a game where you were trailing for a good portion of it, DeBrusk, leading goal scorer, plays under 13 minutes. Pedersen, 16 minutes. Besser, under 16 minutes. Do you think was that a reflection of how they were playing?
You got to earn your ice time.
Got to earn it?
Yeah, you got to earn your ice time around here. That's how you win. So you guys can stir it up all you want. You have to earn your ice time. I don't care how long you've been here. You got to earn your ice time. That's the way it works. That's how you win Stanley Cups. So.
Vancouver's not making them. Get the ink ready, dude.
Yeah, fuck.
Get the ink
Yeah,
ready.
they're not
They're
going
so
anywhere,
bad,
man.
Get the ink ready.
I'm not worried about my Canucks tattoo. I think you got to worry about your Flames tattoo.
Are they just gonna tear the whole thing down this summer? Like
What else can they do?
you're gonna miss the postseason this year after the year you had last year, and oh Jesus, bless
gosh.
your soul, my God.
Sorry, my bad. Cut you off there, my bad.
Did a little Jonathan Toews the ferret run into the room and give you?
No, he's running around heaven right now.
What do they do though? I don't know how they can salvage this, and I think just trying desperately to hold on to Quinn Hughes and get something through here is not going to work. It's almost like they're entering the danger zone of you got to go full rebuild. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, of course.
Yeah, no, I think that's the move there. I mean, it's like Canucks fans keep being delusional about Betsy and Salabrini. How about you rebuild and get Gavin McKenna next year's draft? Boom, problem solved. Tear it down.
Right?
What else can you do? What do you want to do the same thing here? Quinn Hughes can't do it alone. You got to tear it down.
The race for the Gavin McKenna next year could be really interesting with a lot of teams that have been pretty dominant over the past decade, kind of all ripping it down at the same time.
The Canucks are the polar bear in Texas there of dominant teams. They have a one-off season, and now it's back to reality for them. But I see what you're saying, though. Teams like the Bruins and the Rangers, etc. Yeah, Penguins. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gavin McKenna mentioned. All right, anything else, boys?
No.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok,
Subscribe.
Twitter.
We're 6 away from 600.
Yes,
6 away from 600.
And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please rate the show 5 stars. It means a lot to us.
We don't say this enough too. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching right now, if you're watching on YouTube right now, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get the thumbs up in chat. That's how more people. It's like when we tell you to leave a 5-star rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because it recommends the podcast to people that are listening to other hockey podcasts.
Yeah, when you type in Mitch Marner Chicago, Chicago Hockey Radio is the first thing that pops up. So smash that like button. I know that Russell and Chad is upset because we had 30 more minutes of Lardis talk. We will get to Lardis talk throughout the week. Be sure. No worries.
I can't do.
Did we even mention this on the show today? Frank Nazar, first Hawks rookie to score a penalty shot. I'll leave you with that.
Congrats, Frank. All right, subscribe, follow, 5-star rating. See everybody after the post game tonight against the Avs.